What is up, y'all? We are here for episode number 3 of season 2, the weekly Gridiron podcast. I got the Bryce Young jersey today. We got the Bryce Young hat. His signature's on it somewhere. There it is.
Nice,
Wow.
dude.
Thank you. As always, we are your hosts today, Adam
Dante.
and Luke. And we got a whiteboard behind us today. I don't know if you can really see it.
Dude, the presentation today is off the charts. Look at
We're
that.
on point.
We
It's-
rented out a classroom area at Beaver. I mean, just kidding. Nobody was here. So,
You guys just walked in.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. So,
Oh, yeah.
Today, what do we got on tap, Luke?
Well, we're going to go over the games from the past week. At least the three of us are going to talk about our favorite teams more than any random other game. For example, Chargers, Dolphins, we may touch on, but we're not going to talk about it as much as the Steelers or Patriots or the Panthers. Then we're going to predict next week, and we all got some extra stuff on our own we want to talk about.
Yep.
Shall I start with the fantasy leaders from last week?
Go
You can.
for it.
That's fine.
All right. So, for those who don't know, I always do top 15 and an honorable mention for last week's fantasy football leaders, kind of to show who are the best players in fantasy right now, maybe who you should pick up, that kind of thing. That's also what Luke does too with his stardom sit-em. So, this week's totals with the honorable mention, and I've never heard of this guy before this week.
Is it
Mr.
the Rams receiver?
Yeah, Puka Nakua with 21.9 against the Seahawks.
He balled, dude.
Then we had Tony Pollard, 22.2 against the Giants. I have Pollard in my paid league this year, so I appreciate that. Jordan Love with 23. Michael Pittman, 23.7. Justin Jefferson, 24 points against the Buccaneers. Calvin Ridley was back. He had 24.1. We had 24.14 from Mac Jones.
Great.
That's QB. Then
Nice.
a 24.4 point tie between Tyler Algier and Kendrick Bourne. Then CMC had 25.9 against the Steelers. Then Stephon Diggs, 26.2. Austin Eckler, 26.4. And the top 5 this week, Aaron Jones with 26.7. Tua Tagovailoa, 27.14 points. Jacoby Myers in his first game with Vegas had 29.1. Sorry about this one, Dante. Brandon Ayuk, 32.9 for the Niners against Pittsburgh. And this week's top scorer by far, 44.5 against the Chargers for Tyreek Hill. Is he wide
Insane.
receiver 1 in football, or is it still Jefferson or even Devontae Adams?
It's probably either Jefferson or Tyreek Hill.
That's what I'm thinking.
I would say Jefferson still because he's so good. I love him.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Luke,
You guys want to talk about the games from this past week, or you want to predict the next ones?
Let's look at the games from last week real quick. We need to talk about our teams, and we can get into what we're looking forward to for next week. And we have the scores up.
Adam, you want to start since your team? I don't know. I don't want to say uneventful. Kind of was.
it really wasn't. I mean, it was a good old divisional game that not a lot of people paid attention to. 24-10 loss to the Falcons, but I mean, I'm not going to say I'm surprised by that. This was really a kind of getting used to game for a lot of people on this team. We had a new staff, new head coach, rookie quarterback, basically a new RB1, like 3 new wide receivers, although some of them didn't play, new tight end, which Hayden Hurst had his first touchdown on a pass from Bryce Young, which then Hurst proceeded to throw it in the stands. Thankfully, he got it back and got Bryce Young that football. Yeah, but I mean, Hayden Hurst pulled a Pete Alonso there for a minute. If y'all don't understand that reference, a few weeks ago, a St. Louis Cardinal infielder, Mason Wynn, picked up his first hit, and Pete Alonso threw it into the crowd without knowing it was his first hit. And I forget if he even got the ball back, but he got some pretty cool stuff to win. So, but we got the ball back. Hayden Hurst did. He even confirmed it on Twitter after the game. So, other than that, I mean, it was your average rookie QB debut, had a touchdown, threw like 2 interceptions, made a few rookie mistakes. Overall, fine. I mean, nothing crazy. Falcons rushing just ran all over us. Bijan had a touchdown. Algier had 2 touchdowns. We couldn't stop the run game when we reached the red zone. It was just impossible. But other than that, defense played well. Brian Burns proved why we need to pay him. So Scott Fitterer, if you're watching this, get out the check, give it to him, give him a blank check, have him write what he wants, and just give it to him.
Scott Fitterer is surely watching this.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure.
He's like taking notes right now. So okay, I got you.
This Panthers fan said I should pay Brian Burns. Okay, I'll do it.
Only because he asked.
But yeah, I mean, there's really not too much to talk about with the Panthers. I mean, kind of your average getting used to everything game for most people. But as the season goes on, I think this team's going to start to play better once they, get used to playing as a team a little more, once the chemistry gets up. I know we had some tough injuries. We still have Austin Corbett on the offensive line who's out. He's on IR. Then I think it was Brady Christensen is going to miss a while. So that's another tough loss. And then you got JC Horn in the secondary, who apparently it's so bad he could have surgery. I forget what his injury even is, but he's probably going to miss extended time again, which is a tough loss for this team. The secondary, thankfully, is kind of a deeper secondary and is good, but not having JC Horn is key. I mean, you saw it last year. We faced off against the Buccaneers going for a division title, week 17. We lost and we were basically unable to guard Mike Evans because JC Horn wasn't on the field. Whereas if he would have been, maybe we would have won that game. Tampa wouldn't have gone to the playoffs, and it would have been us getting destroyed by Dallas in the wild card, but still would have been a cool experience. But anyway, I mean, that's really all I got to say. Teams just got to get used to playing together, and I guess playing without JC Horn for the extended future. So keep pounding. Maybe we'll win this week. Let's hope.
Speaking of Dallas destroying, we can talk about some of the other games real quick. 40-0 over the Giants. And that was Sunday Night Football, right?
Yes.
That unbelievable. I mean,
Man.
At least the Steelers didn't have the worst loss of the week.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Some of the other games, Lions beat the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. Dante, you called that one.
You
Yeah, I
did.
did. Yeah.
Hey, someone had to pick the Lions with Kelsey being out.
I was going to say with Kelsey out and that absolute travesty Kadarius Toney put on the field.
I was just going to say, I went with my gut, and I think if Kadarius Toney knew how to play football, the Chiefs may have pulled out the victory, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So
None of his receivers, none of Mahomes' receivers.
yeah.
Tony had
Sky Moore is
yeah.
also just
Tony had
trash.
like 3 or 4 drop passes, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what else we got?
Ravens beat up on the Texans. That was one of the games I said I'd like to be able to take the Texans, but I had no good reason to. Browns beat up on the Bengals.
Yeah, I think
Destroyed them. 24-3.
I really don't think the Browns. I mean, the Browns' pass rush was pretty good, but I don't think it was them beating the Bengals. I think the Bengals really beat themselves. Joe Burrow had less than 50% completion, had less than a 50% completion percentage, which is, I don't care who you are, who you're playing, you're not going to win games if that's how you're throwing.
It's just very out of character. And I don't know if you saw, but the weather for that game was horrible.
Oh yeah.
So it reminds me of last year, the Bears beating the 49ers week 1 in a monsoon, basically.
I think, this is why I'm not getting too down on the Steelers, which I'll talk about in a second. But if you look at last year, the Steelers dominated the Bengals defensively. Joe Burrow had 3 interceptions. It was not a good day for them. Then you look at the end of the season, the Bengals are winning the division once again, going to the AFC Championship again. I don't think you could really determine a team's season after week 1. However,
Of course not.
However, you do want to start out on the right foot, and 2 of these AFC North teams did not.
That's right. Jaguars beat the Colts by 10. If you watch that game, you know it was closer than that. It wasn't really until late in the fourth quarter the Jaguars pulled away. Anthony Richardson, I'll go out on a limb and say had the best debut of all the three rookie quarterbacks.
Credit to Richardson. He played well.
He did throw at least one interception. But he had about 20 fantasy points. He got Michael Pittman like 25 fantasy points. And that's not the true tell to how good someone played. But I really do think Anthony Richardson had quite a good game.
He did, absolutely.
Think about it. Every rookie's going to have their flaw. Like Bryce Young threw like 2 interceptions, the same type, both to Jesse Bates, where he like tried to thread the needle. One of them was like trying to thread the needle to Hayden Hurst, and he just couldn't get it to him. And CJ Stroud, I'm pretty sure his first pass was deflected in the air, and Stroud caught it himself. So things like that are going to happen. I mean,
his first completion was to himself.
Their debuts are not going to be perfect. I'm pretty sure I saw something that said Tua is the last rookie QB to win his first game. And then rookie QBs have gone like 0-10 or something like that in their first career start. So it just happens.
It's not easy for rookie QBs. One QB made it look a little bit easier than I expected. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers beating the Minnesota Vikings, who, if you knew last year, the Minnesota Vikings were 11-0 in one-score games. Now they're 0-1 in one-score games this year.
Baker, man, where was this last year? That's all I'm saying. But, I mean, apparently I saw something today that he, like, I want to find exactly what it was. It was some tweet that Baker, like, knew the plays the Vikings were running or something like that. I got to find the tweet.
Well, I'll tell you where it was last year, Adam. It was in the hands of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It says trending Buccaneers QB Baker Mayfield revealed he found out the Vikings defensive signals in their game. So Brian Flores, not a great start with that defense, man.
Oh, wow. That's true.
And the Vikings secondary already isn't that great. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this year.
Yeah.
I feel good for picking the Lions to win that division. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I picked the Vikings, didn't I?
You both picked the Vikings.
Wow.
I picked Detroit.
Once again, week one.
That's true. That's true.
Week one overreactions are fun. Don't get me wrong.
I'll settle down.
Unless you're on the wrong end of them, then they
right.
Well, we're about to get to that. Right before that, Saints beat the Titans barely. You guys snuck that one over me. I think I picked the Titans. The Titans lost 16-15. And Derek Carr starts his New Orleans tenure 1-0.
Nice pass in the end. Shaheed, is that his name?
Shaheed.
Something like that.
Something like that.
He had a nice deep pass to him in the end. I saw it on TikTok today, I think.
Oh, good for Derek Carr.
Yep.
The next game on the ledger,
Dante take the floor?
is 49ers at Steelers.
Yeah, this one.
The floor is yours.
It went downhill fast, man. And what really hurt us was being unable to stop Christian McCaffrey. First of all, you got to have some kind of game plan to stop that guy. And he proved himself, and he proved to me that he is the best running back in all football, personally.
No, I've known that.
You've known that.
We know you've known that.
I've said that now in my mind, the second best running back, Nick Chubb, I thought he was always the best. Who we have to play next Monday, which sucks with our best run defender out.
Yeah.
But, this game did not go well for us. Kenny looked,
about as bad as possible.
What'd you say?
I said he looked about as bad as possible.
Yeah, he did, which I don't think that's truly how Kenny will play the rest of this year. At least I'm really hoping not, because that is the best. That's our hardest game on the schedule all year. And it was week one. After this, it gets pretty easy, but nevertheless, that was just a rough week for us. Also to blame, I hate to sound like that casual Steeler fan, Matt Canada, horrible. I want him off this team immediately. Because he was running 4 verticals on 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. 4 verticals. I don't even do that in Madden. Like, what are you doing, Matt Canada? Like, I just
got done playing a game in Madden before I came over here. That would be one of the worst play calls I've ever heard. So
Yeah, I don't know what he saw, but yeah, the only time the offense really succeeded was right before halftime. It was a 2-minute drill whenever Kenny Pickett was calling the offense, and we scored for our only touchdown.
Yeah,
But
I will say Kenny Pickett looks like he knows what he's doing when it comes to 2-minute drills.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Kenny Pickett in 2-minute drills is the greatest quarterback who's ever lived. He really is. If you ever need a game winning drive, which I'm sure we will need some of those this year, I have full confidence in Kenny Pickett, but really not much to say. I'm looking to move past this game. Really disappointed, but
I feel like the Steelers are playing with a lot of pressure on them, or at least they were feeling like that. Like they were just thinking, we got to beat San Francisco, whatever it takes. And this week, it could be like that too. Like whatever it takes, we got to beat Cleveland. But the Steelers just got to play their own football. They got to focus on their own side of the game, stopping the offense, playing their game on their side of the ball. And I think they can get it done. But we'll see how they rebound this week. It'll be interesting.
One thing I saw, not to drag this out, but one thing I saw from Mike Tomlin that really, made me happy and really gave me hope is that he accepted that loss so well. He was like, it was like the Tuesday presser, which he always puts out. And they were like, Mike, how do you feel about your performance this past week? And he was like, oh, we stunk up the joint. It was horrible. He didn't sugarcoat it at all. And I love that. A lot of Steeler fans want Tomlin out, which I really don't understand.
Yeah.
I know a lot of teams would die to have Mike Tomlin as their head coach just because he's that good of a leader. Regardless of wins, losses, playoffs, wins, all that, he is one of the greatest coaches in NFL history, in my opinion. But yeah, now moving on to Cleveland in prime time, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah, it should be a good divisional game. You two teams play a very similar brand of football. Everybody knows the 49ers were just a bad matchup for you because they're a bad matchup for all of the other 31 teams.
Yeah.
The only reason that since that game I haven't given the Steelers much sympathy is because I kind of said this at the moment to a lot of the friends that I was talking to about the game, is that I saw so many people picking the Steelers anyways. In fact, I was watching ESPN minutes before, and I think 4 out of the 5 people on the panel picked the Steelers. So that put me in the mindset that once that avalanche started and it couldn't get stopped, I don't really feel like sugarcoating that loss for the Steelers. I don't really feel like saying, oh, don't worry, it's just the 49ers. You knew that was going to happen because everybody picked the Steelers anyways. And I'm not saying that we were overrating the Steelers, and I'm not saying that it's over. But I do think that we have to be a little bit more realistic about what we want out of the Steelers this season.
That's fair. But it's just so tough because for these analysts, they look at right now, and the Steelers looked unstoppable in the preseason, point blank period. They looked unbelievable. I'm going to tell my grandchildren about the 2023 preseason Pittsburgh Steelers. Like it was the 85 Bears. It was that incredible. 5 for 5 with the starters on the field for touchdown drives. It was insane.
Kenny Pickett, perfect passer rating.
158.3. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But
let me just say one other thing. For the record, I don't think it is over for any team yet.
No.
I mean,
it's obviously not over for any
1 week into this season. There's 18 weeks, right? Like,
especially for the Steelers and Panthers, who can compete in both their divisions.
Yeah. I mean, check back with me like week 9 or week 10. If like the Colts are 1-7, like we expect them to be, like then maybe I'll say it's over.
I'll get into my Colts take later, but
all right.
I may not be the Colts. I'm just throwing a random team out
there. Yeah.
We'll get there. Let's get through the rest of these games. We'll stop on Patriots. Maybe we'll stop on Monday Night Football to talk about it. Let me wrap up the Steelers real nicely with a bow, and I'll just say the thing that I've been telling people that I've been talking to. Yeah, marker again. It's not going to be a positive thing again. I apologize for this, but I will say it's not over for any team yet. But if this season for the Steelers is going to be scorched earth, it's over. We need to reset. That's how it starts.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
yeah. I won't go on anymore about the Steelers, but
There are too many intelligent people in that organization for you guys to be that bad.
yeah. Which that's why I'm really not too worried about it, to be honest.
49ers is about as tough as it gets. I really do think the Browns are going to be decent this year, so I think it's going to be a tough game for you guys next week. I'm not going to reveal my pick yet, but eventually you'll get some wins and get the ball rolling. I know you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving along the docket here, next game was Cardinals at Commanders. Cardinals, who many people have picked to go 0-17, they almost pulled this one out, losing 20-16, but the boring pick of the Commanders won the game anyways, which is fine.
Yeah.
I like Commanders.
Yeah, I like the Commanders too. It's just Cardinals winning week 1, that'd be pretty funny.
That wouldn't have been, but
Josh Dobbs 1-0 as a starter this year. Not to be, unfortunately.
goat.
Speaking of another QB that we wish was 1-0 this year, but is not, Justin Fields could not break the curse. The Packers still own the Bears 38-20. That is a lot of points for Jordan Love.
Jordan Love looked good.
He did. Oh yeah, I'm very high on him. When was the last time the Bears beat the Packers in the regular season?
It's a good question.
Can you look that up for me?
You guys can talk about that game. I'll look it up.
I don't know. I mean, as a big Justin Fields fan, I wanted him to do better, but
As Justin Fields is my fantasy quarterback, I wanted him to do better.
I have him in a few leagues too. And I mean, I've kind of been biased about him in recent years, but to me, for Justin Fields, this year is a big make or break year because they finally given him a true wide receiver one, at least in my opinion. They've given him some help on the offensive line, some better defensive pieces to keep the Bears in a few more games. This is really his make or break year, in my opinion. And it could be the reason why the Bears do or do not give him that 5th-year option, which I guess they have the chance to do either this year or next year. I guess we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
This is year 3 for him.
Yep.
He was in Trevor's draft class. Trevor Lawrence, I guess, didn't do that well his first year and then made the playoffs. And yeah, so this is year 3 for Justin Fields. Did you find it, Luke?
Yeah, you would have to go back to 2018 to find a Bears win against the Packers. That's 9 in a row for the Packers. And I could count this out, but it would take me a couple minutes. If you keep scrolling down, it's 9 in a row for the Packers. And from the looks of it, 30 out of the last 35, roughly.
Packers have won.
Packers have won.
Jeez.
So about as one-sided as it gets.
Yeah.
The Bears, they just haven't gotten a break. I mean, you had Rodgers, you had Brett Favre before that, and now you have Jordan Love.
If Jordan Love is who we hope he is, dude, the Bears are in trouble for another, unless they get another
10+ years, maybe.
I don't know.
Unless they're so bad that they decide to draft Caleb Williams and trade Justin Fields. I don't know. We'll see. That would be interesting.
I was already seeing Caleb Williams jersey swaps and Steeler uniforms.
That you're a long way and a bunch of bad games away from
Hey,
that.
though,
We'll see.
imagine, I'm just going to say this. Imagine you all get the number 1 pick and draft Marvin Harrison.
I would want. Oh, I don't know who I would want. I love Marvin.
I don't know if I would want him for you guys.
I mean,
The Steelers are a weird team because they have a good roster, but it just doesn't always click.
We never take first-round wide receivers. I couldn't tell you the last time we did.
Because you haven't historically had to. You found Antonio Brown in the 6th round, and you just always been good at drafting wide receivers. If there's one thing the Steelers are good at, it's drafting wide receivers.
Oh yeah, we don't miss.
Yeah, all right, we're getting a little bit back off track, but so Packers continue their ownage of the Bears. Next game on the schedule was Raiders barely sneaking out over the Broncos, 17-16. I probably picked that one. As I said when we talked about this game, I think the Broncos will end the year better than the Raiders, but I think for the Raiders it will start good and then it'll tail off. And I think for the Broncos there are going to be some growing pains, but then they'll figure it out. So it looks like I've been right so far. 17-16. That was that game. Next game was Dolphins barely sneaking out over the Chargers, 36-34. And I saw an Instagram post today talking about this game. The Broncos, believe it or not, have the most expensive defense in the
Wait,
NFL.
You talking about the
Or,
Chargers?
I'm sorry, the Chargers.
Really?
The Chargers have the most expensive defense in the NFL.
Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. Who else?
They sound like casuals, but I don't know. But they gave up something like
Is
was
Eric Kendricks a Charger?
Who?
Eric Kendricks?
Yeah, I think he is.
it was something like
Yep, Eric Hendricks.
Derwin
Derwin
James,
James, too.
Asante Samuel. It was something like 14 big plays, which there is a technically something called a big play, I guess. And that's like an NFL record. Tua had an almost perfect passer rating, things like that, 0 sacks. So not off to a good start for the Chargers. And that offense put up 34 points, but they can't be giving teams 36 points.
All I'm gonna say is, man, I wish I watched that game. I didn't watch a single second of that game, and I wish I did, because I wanted that to be like the offensive shootout that it was, and 36-34. Like, those are just two great offenses going at it with two kind of maybe top tier, but not best of the best defenses, but
Yeah.
two great offenses. Like,
For sure.
I love those types of matchups where not a lot of defense is going to be played. So, but go ahead, Luke. Floor
Next
is yours.
game is two very well-rounded teams, I can proudly say. Eagles at Patriots, Tom Brady day. That was so special. Jersey retired, announced he's going to be in the Patriots Hall of Fame come spring. I don't know if there's anything to do with the statue. I don't think so. But Tom Brady was the first person to ring the bell at the new Gillette Lighthouse. It was amazing atmosphere for Tom Brady, and just for week 1, Patriots didn't get the win. I will say I watched the Steelers game right before this, and then once we got down 16-0, I thought, like, it's over. We're about to go 4-13. Bill Belichick is going to be forced to retire, and Mac Jones isn't going to be our starting QB by week 6. But then the exact opposite thing happened. We turned it around right away, 2 scores by halftime, and it was a game. It was a game after that. The entire game was great. Mac Jones over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kendrick Bourne 2 touchdowns, over 20 fantasy points. Hunter Henry, tight end 1 in fantasy. Defense got home. All of our rookies looked great. It was about as good as I could have hoped it was.
Yeah.
My confidence in the Patriots has skyrocketed, and that was before Aaron Rodgers even went down. But I legitimately think, if I don't know who it's going to be, I think it's going to be the Bills. But if somebody's not careful, we could come for second in the division. It's going to be tough because we have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. But we just hung by foot with the Eagles. That is maybe the toughest team in the NFL. And if we can do that, we can definitely hang in with everybody else. Because when we play the Bills, we're going to be forcing turnovers. And when we play the Dolphins and Christian Gonzalez gets on Tyreek Hill, Tua is going to make some mistakes. And with the defenses in our division looking shaky, some of them, Dolphins giving up 34 points, Bills giving up 25 points to Zach Wilson, 22 points, I guess. If Mac Jones continues to be surgical how he was in week 1, I am going to really, really love this Patriots team. That's all I'm going to say. If we're not careful, we might start 0-4. I don't know. We have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. This is truly going to be a test. But all I'm going to say is I am so happy that the alternative isn't true. This team could have gone 4-13. Mac Jones be out the door halfway through the season. Bill Belichick be out the door at the end of the season. But it doesn't look like that's going to become a reality. So that's my 2 cents on the Patriots. I'm pretty happy. All things considered, we did still lose the game, and that hurts. But in front of Tom Brady, we put up pretty dang good performance, and I can't be too upset about that.
Yeah.
The next game on the schedule was Rams beating up on the Seahawks 30-13. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah. Good for the Rams.
Oh yeah.
I guess it makes sense, but nobody saw it coming.
It was the Dean legacy game.
In legacy game.
Even without Cooper Kupp, that's another thing.
Yeah, they're without Cooper Kupp for at least 4 weeks.
Yeah,
We'll see.
that'll be interesting. And as we already previously mentioned, Cowboys just destroyed the Giants, and they didn't leave much behind. If it's over for one team, it's over for the Giants.
40-0 is nuts.
40-0 on Sunday Night Football in New York, I'm pretty sure. In New York, it's over.
And Dak didn't even play that well.
He didn't. Yeah. It really is crazy.
It was just the defense that tore them apart, dude.
Yeah.
It was bad.
They didn't let them get anything. And then the next game, the last game of the week, Bills at Jets on 9/11. Aaron Rodgers plays a total of 75 seconds, and Zach Wilson, led by the defense, which had 3 interceptions and a recovered fumble, pulls out the win against the Bills.
That was a cool punt return at the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a cool way to win. It maybe should have come back, but
People are gonna
that would be no
I
fun.
don't know.
Josh Allen, everything he needed to work on over the offseason, limiting turnovers, not throwing his body against defenders when he's on the run. There was that one play, it was like 3rd and 13. He decided to take off with it. He had maybe gained 6 yards, and he dove, like full body power, dove into 1 or 2 receivers who like hit sticked him, and he did like a flip in midair. And he was still like 7 yards short of the first down. So that was about as bad of a Josh Allen game as they could have gotten, in my opinion.
And Luke, you'd love to see it.
I love to see it. Although I will say, and I think I said this last week, I was cheering for the Bills because we are more than likely going to be closer to the Jets than the Bills at the end of the year. So a Jets loss would have been more helpful, but that's okay.
That's why I was rooting for the Bengals against the Browns.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
I was gonna say trivia question for you. In our 8-person paid fantasy football league, who is my quarterback?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Okay, yeah.
Who else were you gonna say?
I was gonna say Aaron Rodgers, but thankfully not.
No. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's Josh Allen, which I'm sure it'll go better, but
Yeah. We can get into these games. In fact, they're back to back on next week's schedule, which we can start talking about in a second. But it would be very in character for the Bills and Bengals to, after those big losses, both just drop 40. So we'll see.
Yeah.
You want to get us started on picking next week if we're ready to move on to that?
Sure. First game, aka I guess tomorrow, aka when we're recording this, but first game of
Tonight as it's released.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thursday night football, Vikings and Eagles. This is, fun fact, the 3rd year in a row these two have met on prime time. I'm pretty sure the last 2 years were Monday night. And the last 2 years ended up with big Eagles wins. This year, to me, is going to be no different. I got the Eagles. This one might not be close. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Eagles here. As much as we talked about last week, Luke and I, we're Viking supporters. We like them.
I like him too, but
yeah, the Eagles. I don't know. I don't expect this to be a blowout. Considering how well, and this is no knock to the Patriots at all. Considering how well the Patriots played the Eagles, I do think the Patriots are underrated, but I do think the Eagles may be a little bit overrated. But
Yeah.
But either way, I think this is going to be a nail biter. But I am going to give it to the Eagles.
I'm giving it to the Eagles as well. I'm not sure it's going to be a nail biter. The Eagles may just torch them. We'll see.
I know you're going to be doing your stardom sit-em, Luke, but I must say I am very high on each and every Eagles receiver this week in fantasy. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, whoever is in that category, even Dallas Goedert, if they decide to give him some targets this week. I don't know if he had any like targets last week, but he had 0 receptions and 0 yards.
Having
So-
your tight end have 0 receptions in today's game is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
I feel like Patriots fans have a newfound respect for the current Eagles after that battle of the game last week. So it'll be a little bit interesting for me to watch and see if the Vikings put up more of a fight than us, which is unlikely. Because it's interesting when you cheer for a team in the best division in football, which it's either arguably our division or Dante yours. I'm sure we both thought over the past couple of years, well, our team would probably be winning these other divisions.
Yeah, 100%.
If the Eagles just destroy the Vikings, my first thought will be, well, the Patriots may as well have won the NFC North, but that's bad. Oh well. The next game, Packers at Falcons. I feel like this is also probably a pretty easy one. Maybe
For
not.
me, anyway. I've got the Packers. I think this could be close, especially because of how the way Atlanta played last week. I will give them credit. They're a better team than I expected them to be, but I'm also going to give credit to the Packers when saying they're a better team than I expected them to be. And I think the Packers are just going to maybe prove this week, all right, we're going to be a big playoff contender this year. And they got a big week 1 win on the road, and I think they're going to get a big week 2 win on the road. So give me the Packers to win in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm also gonna take the Packers here. But who knows? If Atlanta runs the ball well, they could be right up in this game. But I think Jordan Love and that Packer offense is going to be too much for that Falcon defense. So give me the Packers.
I was also going to say about the same thing. I think that Packer offense is just going to be too much.
Yeah.
The Falcons just don't have the defense to contain an offense like that. They could run the ball well. They could make it interesting, especially being at home. But I don't believe in the Falcons just yet. They could be okay this year, but they're not going to win this game. Next game, Raiders at the 0-1 Bills. I'll let one of you guys start with this one, even though I know who I'm picking.
Wait, Luke, who did you pick? Green Bay or Atlanta?
I picked Green Bay.
Okay. Sorry, I was not paying attention. Dante, you want to go first for this one?
Yeah. You said Bills Raiders?
Yep.
This may be a controversial pick regarding how they played last week, but I am going to go with the Bills. I don't know. It's just really, Luke, you might be rolling your eyes, but it's really
No.
the Bills right now. But
Yeah.
I just think they're just a better football team than the Raiders are, though the Raiders did beat the Broncos, as we talked about. At Highmark Stadium is a tough place to play. Orchard Park, it's a crazy environment, as we all know. And I do think the Bills are going to come out and they're going to get the job done.
I'll put the worry to rest. I'm picking the Bills as well.
Okay, cool.
I'm not overthinking this one.
Yeah.
I just got done saying it would be in character for a team like the Bills to lose and then go out and drop 40 on their next opponent.
Yeah.
That could very well happen. I think at home, that defense is just going to shut down Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm going to be right about that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills too. I mean, they had a tough week 1. I think that this coming week is going to be a little breath of fresh air for them, playing back at home in front of their fans. I mean, Vegas got a week 1 win, but they're not any sort of super contender. I think it's a pretty, I'm not going to say easy opponent for Buffalo, but I think the Bills should have no problem. Like Luke said, I'm not going to overthink this one. I'm going to take the Bills as well. So the next game we got, our first divisional matchup of the week, Ravens and Bengals in the AFC North in Cincinnati. And I don't know what I'm going to do for this one. So
I do.
Dante, you go ahead. You are a big AFC North fan, so go for it.
I think the Bengals are going to obliterate the Ravens.
Obliterate?
I don't think it's even going to be close. Personally, The Ravens running offense, their rushing team, like their rushing unit is what I'm trying to say.
Take your
It's pretty
time.
much they're in shambles. It's in shambles
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
Losing J.K. Dobbins, however, they do have two great running backs still on the roster, and Gus Edwards
One of which being Lamar Jackson.
and Lamar Jackson, right? With I don't know, Odell did not impress me last week, though. The one receiver I'm very impressed with is Zay Flowers. The kid just balled. Coming into your first NFL game and playing like that, over 100 yards receiving. Absolutely stunning game from Zay Jones. However, I think the Bengals are coming in pissed off, and they're gonna whoop on the Ravens, I think.
Yeah, OBJ did not impress me either.
No.
And I probably should have seen that coming.
Yeah,
but-
he had one target and no receptions.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, as much as he wants it to become a passing offense, that means he has to learn how to read defenses, and that's maybe a little bit disrespectful.
Oh my God, saying an NFL quarterback needs to learn how to read defenses. That's crazy. But
they have their strengths, and it would be smart for them to stick to them. But like you said, J.K. Dobbins went down, and I think they're just not going to know what to do, and they can't afford to not know what to do against the Bengals, who, like you said, are going to be upset. They're going to be looking for a big win, and like the Bills, I think they're going to find a big win here at home.
yeah,
I was thinking about going Baltimore. I'm not gonna lie, but you guys persuaded me. You guys persuaded me in the Bengals direction. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Baltimore either. Like you guys said, they're dealing with some key injuries. There are players that are healthy. Some of them are not playing well, playing up to par with the way they should be. They've still got some key offensive pieces, but like Dante said, the Bengals are upset from week number 1, and they need to take it out on somebody this week, and that somebody is going to be the Ravens. And they're at home, which is the perfect place for the Bengals to do it. So, and in fact, if I remember correctly, except for last year's playoffs, the Bengals have had the Ravens number in the past year or two and really have gotten some crushing wins. So,
yeah. Next game, Seahawks at Lions. I can start this one. Give me Lions 1000%. I don't think it's going to be close. The Lions, don't forget, are going to be upset that the Seahawks snuck right over them to make the playoffs last year. They think they're a better team. They are a much better team. The Seahawks just got smacked by the Rams, and the Lions just snuck past the Chiefs. This isn't going to be close, especially in Detroit.
you want me to go or you?
I mean, I know who I'm picking, but if you want to go,
I'll go Detroit. I'm not going to say I wanted to go Seattle. I was thinking about going Seattle just because they won in Detroit last year. But this Lions team just looks 2 times better than what I saw last year. Getting a week 1 win against the Chiefs in Arrowhead with or without Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, I still think is huge. And the Chiefs just showed that next man up was not important to them. Their backups that stepped in, their backup receivers didn't shine under the spotlight. And that Detroit offense, specifically their defense, Detroit's defense is spectacular. Their offense looked very good as well. Jared Goff just going off. And I think he's going to do the same this week at home. I'll take the Detroit as well.
it's going to be a clean sweep. Give me the Detroit Lions.
None of us have disagreed yet.
Oh wow, that's crazy. But
5 clean sweeps so far.
jeez. But
Next game coming up could have some disagreements though.
yeah.
And that type where we gotta pick somebody to win. It's the Colts and the Texans.
Well, let's let Dante finish talking about
No, you're all good.
Sorry.
No,
Are
we
you
can-
sure?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there's not much to say. You guys pretty much wrapped it up for me.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. The
Yeah.
Colts and Texans.
I want to see who you two pick first because my pick is made, but I'm not sure it's going to be the same as you guys.
Dante, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going with the Colts. I think the Colts are gonna march right into Houston and handle business. If Anthony Richardson plays, I don't know what his status is for this game. I know he went out with I know he went into concussion protocol
I
after.
didn't even realize that.
No, yeah, dude. One of the last plays of the game was pretty ugly. He got hit in the side of the head, but either way, I think the Colts are going to come in and they're going to get the job done, regardless of who plays. If Anthony Richardson plays, he looked pretty good in
Well,
that first game.
He looked great, honestly.
Yeah, he looked
For-
really good.
For the first game of his career, I was very impressed.
Yeah, so that's the sole reason I'm going with the Colts.
But Adam,
I think I'm gonna go Indianapolis as well. I love Houston. I love CJ Stroud, but judging from what I saw week 1, that Colts team was able to make the game against Jacksonville competitive when the Texans really didn't show up to play in Baltimore. I mean, that's kind of expected, but this Colts team started out a little better than I expected them to. Like we said, Anthony Richardson had a great week 1, and I think he's going to carry that success into week number 2 and get his first career win in the battle of top 4 draft picks between Richardson and Stroud. I think Richardson's going to come out on top in this one.
boys, I've been going back and forth, but I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I am picking the Houston Texans.
Finally.
Right now, if you would ask me my QB power rankings, Anthony Richardson is definitely above CJ Stroud. However, I still think Houston has a better team. And even though the Jaguars are probably better than the Ravens and the Colts put up a better fight than the Texans did, these games are just going to be – there are some games that are just going to be weird like this, where it feels like the Colts should win. And I'll be honest, I almost switched to the Colts. But what did I say before? What did I say every single episode this season? I believe in the Texans this year. I think they could be better than people expect them to be. And so I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. And even when I don't really believe it, in a close game like this, I'm going to get CJ Stroud getting his first career win. Has to happen eventually.
Luke, did you say you think the Colts may be better than the Ravens? Is that what you said?
No. I said I think the Jaguars are better than the Ravens.
Oh, okay.
Colts put up a better fight against the Jaguars than the Texans did against the Ravens.
I was about to be all for it. I was going to be like,
You're about to be on board about that?
going to run through a wall.
Hey, I mean, all I'm going to say is don't ask me if I'd rather start a franchise with Anthony Richardson or Lamar Jackson right now, because you might not like the answer.
No,
Dante
one
might
read
like it.
defenses.
You might like it, Dante, but other people might not.
Before we go, I'm actually going to change my pick and go with Houston.
Really?
I thought about it. I want to go with my
All
boy
right.
CJ Stroud.
Yep, that's fair.
They're at home. I think I could be wrong.
I'll take another game for both of you guys again.
That's fair.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway,
Hopefully there's some disagreements here. There might be one here. Let's see.
Kansas City and Jacksonville. This is going to be a good one.
Oh,
I know who I'm picking.
you know who you're picking? That means you're starting, because neither of us do.
Give me the Jags. In Jacksonville. TIAA Bank Stadium. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars. They they won by 10 points. They didn't even play their best football against the Colts. And the Chiefs, I know they got Chris Jones back, but that Jaguar offensive line looked great against the Colts. Granted, it's the Colts. However, the Jags, they really want this game. We've been talking about previous narratives about how teams have a certain vendetta out for other teams. Like we were talking about the Lions being pissed off that the Seahawks got in instead of them. The Jaguars got beat by the Chiefs in a very close game in the playoffs last year. And I don't think that's going to happen again. Give me Jacksonville.
Screw me.
You.
I'm going to go with the boring answer. I'm going to take the Chiefs. We've talked about teams being upset from certain outcomes and certain weeks. I think the Chiefs are pretty upset after last week. And with the possibility of Travis Kelce playing, I think that might be all they need. But out of the two people that, I kind of worded that wrong. I said with the possibility of Kelce playing, they had two key people miss last week, Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. They got Chris Jones back because they ended the holdout, gave him like a 1-year extension or something, I forget. So he is back. I was thinking about picking Jacksonville, but I told myself, I was like, all right, I want the Chiefs to get at least one of those people back, and I think it'll be closer now. They got a big piece back. Chris Jones is going to make the game a little harder for the Jaguars defense or Jaguars offense. So for that reason, if the receivers can step up, if Kelce's truly not going to play, I think the Chiefs will win this one but it's going to be close. It's going to be an exciting, fun game.
All right, I have made my pick. I'm going with Duval. I'm going with Jacksonville. Two main reasons. Well, I'm going to start by saying this game could go either way. It really could.
100%.
I could be wrong. This should be a great game. I'm excited to watch it. But two things, I guess three. Do we know if Travis Kelce's going to be back?
We don't know for sure. We do know Chris Jones will be back.
We do know Kadarius Toney will be playing, which is enough reason to pick against the Chiefs. But two things. One, I picked the Chiefs last week against the Lions. I picked them when I didn't need to, when I knew it was going to be close, and they did nothing to earn my favor for it. They did not repay me at all. I'm not going to give them that courtesy again. And two, I wanted to look at the Chiefs' schedule. If they lose this game, are they going to be screwed? Are they going to start 1-4 or something? Week 3, Bears. Week 4, Jets. They'll be fine. Chiefs will start 2-2 even if they lose this game. So for that reason, I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This time I'm going to stick with my pick because I want to be Dante with the Colts and be the one to prove y'all wrong here.
Might go 0-2. Who knows?
Why
Go
not?
ahead.
We got a real thriller here. Bears and Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. I know who I'm picking, but if you guys want to go first,
I
you
don't know
can.
who I'm picking, so either of you can go first.
Dante, you or me?
I'm going Bucks. Sorry. I just took it, but yeah, I'm going Bucks.
That's fine because I am going Bears.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they'll have a bounce back week. I think Fields will play fine. Maybe not perfect, but fine. I think maybe DJ Moore will get a touchdown. They'll get the run game involved. Mike Evans might have a touchdown. It'll be like a 20-17 game like it was for Tampa Bay in the first week. But this time I think it's going to be Chicago coming out on top and Tampa Bay not winning this one. So, Luke, you're the deciding factor.
I'm going to go with the Bucks.
Okay.
It's not that I don't believe in Justin Fields. It's not that I didn't believe the Bears are going to be better this year. They just didn't show me anything last week for me to make them my pick this week. And the Buccaneers did. Maybe the Buccaneers actually aren't going to be that bad after all. Maybe it is going to be a 4-way race for your division, Adam. I don't think we can write off the Buccaneers yet. Baker Mayfield looked fine. I mean, considering Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are the two guys he's throwing to, he looked all right. And that home field advantage in Tampa Bay is real. I like their stadium, and I think that in that weather, a team from Chicago is not used to that weather necessarily. I guess it's not that big of a difference yet, but I'm kind of just throwing stuff at the wall. There are reasons for me to pick the Buccaneers, and that's why I'm picking Buccaneers.
All right.
Next game.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm really on the fence about that one. I really don't know. But I'm going to stick with the Bucks, though. That one's tough.
I'm going to stick with the Bucks. I don't know. Chargers at Titans. I know who I'm picking for this one.
Yeah,
I
do too.
Are we all picking same team?
I believe so, but I want to see who you guys pick.
Luke, who you
I
got?
am picking LAC, the LA Chargers. I am picking the Chargers. Sorry, Titans, but you just don't have the offense for this game. Even if the Chargers, who I just mentioned, are the most expensive defense in the NFL, even if they aren't able to stop Derrick Henry once, they're just going to get outscored. The Titans, they couldn't beat the Saints, and they're not going to beat the Chargers. I'm very confident about this one.
Me too. I'm going with the Chargers.
Me 3. I'm going with the Chargers. Clean sweep there. Not really a surprise.
Not much to discuss there, I don't think. I mean, Titans have a fine defense, but I mean,
The Chargers have a more than fine offense.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Starting in the bless you there. Starting in the 4:00 slate, we got the Giants and the Cardinals.
The team who suffered the worst loss last week versus the team everyone thought was going to be worse in the NFL. AKA a game I'm not going to be watching.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Luke, who you got?
Give me the Giants, although I don't really take enjoyment in that. I'm just not, I can't get myself interested in this game at all. The only interesting thing this game has to offer is if somehow the Giants lose, it's over for them. I mean, really, 40-0 and they're losing to the Cardinals, that would be, it's over. It wouldn't be too early to say that anymore.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen.
Adam, who you
I
got?
got the Giants rebounding too in this one. I mean, Cardinals could put up a fight, but I think this is going to be the game the Giants are circling on their schedule as, all right, we had a tough week one. We need an excuse to go out there and remind ourselves that we can do this again this year. And they're going to use that excuse in Arizona and get a nice win against the Cardinals. So I got the Giants.
Go
Yeah.
ahead if you want to do it.
Before this game, before you guys picked, I have them written down in my notes. As you could see, I had the Cardinals written down in my notes as who I was going to pick. But I'm going with the Giants. I can't do it.
Yeah,
I'm going with the Giants.
I respect it. I would have respected the Cardinals, but I would have strongly disagreed with it.
Yeah.
This is a game that the Giants know they have to win. It's funny to say that a week 2 is a must win, but just for they have to sell tickets. And if they lose this game, they might have a hard time doing that.
Yeah. Both New York teams at this point.
The Jets are more exciting than I thought they were going to be without Aaron Rodgers, but maybe that was just the atmosphere.
Yeah, who knows?
I can preview the next game and start with the picks because I know exactly who I'm picking, and I've had this little speech ready to go for a minute. Niners at Rams. Dean, my boy, I'm going to rain on your parade for a minute. I'm picking the 49ers. There's absolutely no doubt in this one. If you guys have watched the last 2 seasons of football, besides the 2021 NFC Championship game, or 2022, I guess, the 49ers have owned the Rams in the last 2 years, and every single regular season game has been a blowout. I loved the Rams. Big win in week 1, unexpected little story, but I think it's coming to a halt here this week. I think the 49ers are going to have them, slam the brakes as I don't know, maybe the Rams thought they were making a run this year. I don't know, but I think the Niners are going to get a win here and kind of remind LA fans this might not be the year for them. And I hope LA has a good year, but I'm going to say 49ers by a good amount in this game.
I'm also going to go with the Niners here, but I don't think the Rams are going to go. I don't think the Rams are. They're not going to go without putting up a fight. Personally, I think there's going to be like a 34 to 23 game in favor of the Niners.
High scoring
It's gonna be a shootout. I think.
in LA.
Maybe not. I don't know, because the Niner defense is really good. But either way, that margin of victory is what I see for the Niners. Because the Rams did look good last week, but the Niners just look like a super team. So give me San Francisco.
I agree. I would go as far as saying put anybody on the other side of that matchup. Maybe not the Eagles. Maybe not the Cowboys. Other than that, maybe not the Lions, maybe not the Chiefs. But there's there's not even a handful of teams that I wouldn't automatically pick the 49ers against. Home or away, give me the 49ers.
Hypothetically, if the Cowboys were playing the Niners, I'm taking the Niners 10 times out of 10. Personally, that's just me. But
probably, although I think the Cowboys have earned a little bit of respect after just destroying the Giants. I know that happens. The Cowboys do that on occasion, but I feel like I have to give them a little bit of respect after dropping a 40-0 on a team.
yeah, but you got to look at it. That was mainly just the defense and Tony Pollard. That's really all.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
on that note, this is a really interesting game then. Jets at Cowboys. I'll let you two start, even though I know who I'm picking.
Dallas.
All right, Dallas.
I don't need to go into it very much. If Aaron Rodgers were playing, this game would be a lot closer, but I'm not going to say it's going to be 40-0 again, but wasn't liking the chances of Daniel Jones taking down the Cowboys. I don't like the chances of Zach Wilson taking down the Cowboys either.
Dude,
And especially, I was going to say, sorry, especially this time because Dallas is at home for this game, it makes me even more confident that they can win.
the one thing I would be nervous about the one thing if I was a AFC East fan that wasn't a fan of the Jets, the one player I would be nervous about would be Brees Hall. That guy looks unbelievable. He looks so good in that game against
Yeah, he sure did look much better than I expected him to.
Pure example of maybe the Jets did not need Dalvin Cook.
Oh, I think we all knew that.
Yeah.
One thing I will say though, one guy who did not look good week 1, Sauce Gardner did not look good week 1.
Oh.
I saw something today. I'm interested. Can you look up his stats? Because I saw something today that last year he allowed like 54 total receiving yards the entire season last year.
Yeah.
And he was matched up against Stephon Diggs, obviously. But I'm curious to find out, like, how many yards did he allow? Does it say?
That can't be. I guess it. Oh, that's okay. I don't know how to find how many yards he allowed last year, but so far this year, these are not very useful stats they're showing. All right, I can't really help you this year, but I remember seeing on Twitter, or should I say X now, that at like halftime, he was targeted 4 times for 4 receptions and like 75 yards and a touchdown. So I will smile all the way through the Sauce Gardner downfall. That's all I'm going to say. We go from a very interesting game to a very uninteresting game. The Commanders at the Broncos. Just does not excite me. I don't know about you guys.
I legit don't know who I'm picking for this one. I'll let you guys go. I mean, I think I have an idea, but I want to see what you guys say.
Dante, what do you think?
I'm going Broncos. I don't know. I don't know much to say about this game. One team played pretty solid against a team that's close to their level, and the Commanders almost lost to the Cardinals at home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, give me the Broncos.
I'm going to take the Broncos as well. This is a game they should win. It's a game they should be able to try out some stuff, get Russell Wilson to throw a couple risky passes, see what happens. And I think it's going to go well for them. I don't think the Commanders are up to their standard, and I think we're going to see that this week.
There are a few factors that go into my pick here. Denver's at home. That's one of them. That always should be one of them because playing in the Mile High is different than playing anywhere else in terms of altitude and temperature and all that. Number 2 is Washington barely beat the team we all viewed as the worst team in the NFL going into the season in week number 1 at home, I should add. At home. I wanted to pick Washington, but I'm going to pick Denver just because they lost last week in a very close game to Vegas at home. Denver's at home the first 2 weeks. I don't see them going 0-2 in their own stadium. I see Denver getting at least 1 win. And I think this week is going to be their 1 win. I think, like Luke said, this should be a week where they can try out some things. Sean Payton can get a little more used to being in the Denver organization. Russell Wilson can maybe bounce back. I don't know. Is Javonte Williams healthy?
Yeah.
Javonte Williams could help his fantasy players out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Adam with some very passionate thoughts on this game.
But hey, give me the Broncos. That's all I'm going to say. Luke, funny enough, I should add before he goes, our last 3 games on the schedule, all of us are in the prime time slate this week. Boys,
that's never happened. That's never
this
happened.
may never happen again. We got Luke on Sunday night, and Dante and I are on Monday night.
Yeah.
That being said, Luke, you're first on the list, so go for it, man.
This may reveal my picks, but I'm just gonna say, dear God, this couldn't have happened to the three of us on a worse week. I'm picking the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I love the Patriots. I love how they played last week, but oh my God, Tyreek Hill scares me. I don't think we have maybe the best defense in the NFL. I don't think we're going to be able to stop this offense. The Dolphins are my new division favorite for the AFC East. I don't think it's going to be close. They could very well have the best record in the NFL this year. I love the Patriots. We were a valid team. We are going to give them a fight. We may even win. This is at home. But man, Tua just somehow has our number every year. So give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, Luke, I hate to tell you, I'm also going to go Miami. They just looked really good in week 1. And they beat the Chargers. I think this week they're going to have that type of offensive performance again. Although we'll see. Maybe the Pats defense can make this a little interesting. My big question is, how will the Pats offense do in this game? We know they were able to stick with Philly, but that's the other thing. Will your defense be able to stop Tyreek Hill and Tua? How's Tua going to do down in Foxborough? Pats will be wearing the throwback red Patriot jerseys. So that's pretty cool.
It is huge.
That is true. Yeah.
Do we know, Dante, will the Steelers be in the color rush?
I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. But anyway, yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins.
Dante, you can give your pick here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins. Sorry, Luke. The Dolphins just they just look so good. And
they are so scary.
Yeah, they are. They are. Tua, Luke, I know how you feel about Tua. You do respect him and you do like him, kind of.
Yeah.
I think Tyreek's going to be the difference maker in this one. However, Christian Gonzalez versus Tyreek, it's going to be a show.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully the Steelers follow in your footsteps and put in our rookie.
Yeah, what happened to JPJ? Why did he not see the field much?
7 snaps, bro. 7.
Man.
And
I don't like that.
Let me show you what I was wearing. Give me 1 second.
So while he's walking around, I'll just say Christian Gonzalez, he looked about as good as he could have looked last week, all things considered. But man, this guy is starting his career guarding AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb.
D-Hop, maybe?
CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill again, and then he gets a break with Terry McLaurin. So
I don't even know if that's a break.
It's really not.
It's not. So
Pats have a tough schedule, man.
I love Christian Gonzalez, but it does not get easy for that guy.
No. Anyway, going into this game against the Niners, this is the jersey I was wearing.
Which is beautiful, by the way.
Oh,
I need to know one thing though.
Yes.
Did you buy that from your favorite Rally House Settlers Ridge?
I bought this the day after Joey was drafted, so no.
Ah, man. Before I even started working there.
But beautiful. I mean, look at that. If it fails, I'll just put a snail on the back of this. But
Benny football.
Right. Shall I preview? Shall I get the Monday night slate started?
Go ahead.
Technically,
take us away.
Technically, we're first because we're at 7:15. You guys are 8:15.
Go ahead.
We are also on. I should add, we are also on ESPN Deportes along with ESPN, which is cool.
ESPN 8 the Ocho.
Anyway. Saints and Panthers, another divisional opponent to start out the season, back-to-back NFC South versus NFC South. I think this will reveal who I'm picking, but all I'm going to say is this. Let's look at the history behind this matchup. Drew Brees is in the NFL. Panthers were getting destroyed by the Saints every single year. In fact, there was a year that man beat us 3 times. Because the year, 2017, the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl, we played them in the wild card and lost. And we had lost 2 times before that. There's a year that man had a clean sweep of 3 wins on us. Since he has retired, after 2020, the Panthers have played the Saints 4 times. They have won 3 of those games, including a sweep last year. Both of those wins, or 2 out of 3 of those wins, both times we have played them at the Bank of America Stadium, we have won. This year, I am hoping that does not change. I'm going to take Carolina. I know this is going to be close, especially no JC Horn. So we're going to have to put our trust in CJ Henderson to cover Chris Olave. Not going to be easy, but I'm going with the Panthers. I think we can improve to 1-1 this week. I am hoping, I am praying. But if you guys pick the Saints, like I said with the Falcons last week, I'm not going to be surprised. I don't blame you if you pick New Orleans. But these guys are who I'm going with. So,
Luke, I know who I'm going with.
What'd you say, Dante?
I know who I'm going with.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Because I'm still.
Adam, I'm sorry. But I'm jumping on your bandwagon. Give me the Panthers.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think the Panthers are gonna extend off the good that they did against the Falcons. This was really a tough break for the Panthers, not in terms of strength of opponent, but 2 divisional games back to back is really tough, regardless of the division, NFC South or AFC East, you know. But yeah, I think the Panthers bounce back here in their home opener. The crowd's going to be bumping with Bryce Young coming in.
I don't think we're going to. I hope we wear these uniforms. I don't think we're going to, but they should. These are beautiful.
100%. But yeah, give me the Panthers here.
I should add, after this game, we do not play the NFC South again until Sunday, December 3rd.
Nice.
So we get a healthy break of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games plus the bye week. So
also, not only are all of our teams playing on prime time, they're all playing divisional opponents.
yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
So our next divisional game after this week is Sunday, December 3rd at Tampa Bay. But that starts a 3-week stretch of divisional games where we play at Tampa, play at New Orleans, and then host Atlanta. But then we get a break for 2 games until we host Tampa Bay last game of the year. But they love to put us up against our divisional teams like back to back to back every single time. I love it. Anyway, Luke, we need your pick, man.
I'm sorry, Adam. I'm going to Saints.
That's fine. Someone's got to pick them. I mean,
similar situation to last week, Raiders versus Broncos. I don't have a ton of faith in the Saints this year, but I do think they'll start out okay. I like the Panthers this year, but I do think there will be some growing pains. And it's only week 2, so they're not going to get over that hump yet. Give me the Saints, unfortunately, taking the win in Carolina.
okay. And anyway, last game, Dante, go for it.
Last game, Monday Night Football, prime time under the lights. You have the Cleveland Browns coming to town to play my Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know people might think I'm a little, one second. I still recovering from a cold. But I know people may think I'm a little, not really rushing to watch another Steeler game. I am so excited to watch this game. So pumped. First of all, because I think the Steelers are going to bounce back and recover from that travesty they put out on the field last week. And also, I hate the Cleveland Browns. So, my least favorite sports franchise of all time. And this game means a lot to me. This is my Super Bowl. And with that, I know people may think I'm crazy, but I'm going to roll with my boys. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to bounce back and have a game against their divisional rival. I know you guys may agree with me, but give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We'll see. Luke, I'll have you go before me just because I'm still kind of thinking about it, truthfully.
I'm sorry if I just seemed like I checked out for a minute. I was finishing up a fantasy trade, actually.
Oh, wow.
Just around. In a league where J.K. Dobbins was my RB2, I was a little bit desperate for a new RB2, so I just traded Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, and Christian Watson for Breece Hall and Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, what, dude, Luke? That's a fleece, dog. That is a fleece you fleeced him. Wow.
Hurts giving up Calvin Ridley. And Hurts giving up Calvin Ridley.
Ayuk's good.
Ayuk is good.
Please.
And Breece Hall is now my RB2 behind CMC.
That's incredible, actually. Wow.
I'm pretty happy about it. So, sorry, that's why I just checked out for a minute, but let's put it up on the board. By the way, I'm only putting these up on the board because I was talking to somebody who watched last episode, and they said something along the lines of it would be nicer, or it would be nice just like as a little added touch if we had some way of indicating what we were talking about, like for the people who are watching it, because this particular person they were crunched on time and wanted to skip ahead to when we were talking about their game.
Okay.
But so maybe in the future we can talk out like sharing a screen and like pointing at the game we're talking about or something. But this whiteboard came in handy for today. I hope it worked as intended. With that being said, Dante, I apologize, but I have stalled the inevitable. I am picking Cleveland. It brings me no joy. I promise you. It brings me no joy to pick Cleveland. But I have to do it. Until further notice, the Steelers are not going to get picked by me against many teams in the league. And even though I believe it was largely due to the weather and the fact that the Browns have always had the Bengals number, I have to respect how big that win was last week. So I have to pick the Browns here. Sorry.
Understood.
That being said, Adam?
I'm going back and forth for this one, but
Adam, if you think the Browns are going to win this game, pick them. Don't pick them because don't pick the Steelers because they're my favorite. Go with what you think.
I'm going to trust my gut here. And my gut says to pick the Cleveland Browns.
That's
I'm
fair.
sorry, Dante.
It's fine.
But what my gut is telling me is use this week before you pick the Steelers again, let them prove that they can bounce back. And once they do, because here's the thing. This is a big game for the Steelers because you don't want to be 0-2 going into that slate where you got Houston and Vegas coming up, because I'm pretty sure that's who's next. With Vegas, no matter how, easy or hard they are, the Raiders have always been tough for the Steelers to beat.
Yeah.
If I'm a Steelers fan, I don't want to be 0-2 going into that game.
Well,
because there is a slight chance they could be 0-3.
I'm looking at the Steelers schedule now. So Niners, Browns, hypothetically, give me 0-2. Raiders, Texans, I'll be kind. Hypothetically, give me 2-2. But then Ravens, Rams, who look good. Jaguars, Titans, Packers, Browns, Bengals. Then you get a break with the Cardinals, Patriots. It's like six or 7 weeks away.
I hope you both have fun.
I'll lock in my pick right now.
Okay.
But then the Colts, and so I don't know. I'm just gonna say you guys have a tough midseason stretch.
I think
yeah. If that was truly the Steelers, it's over. However, I don't think it is. And I think we're gonna bounce back. That's all I'm saying.
I think you will too. I think these first few weeks are important to take as many games as you can, because with that midseason stretch coming up, with all the tough opponents you have, I think it's important to get as many wins as you can, because that tough stretch, who knows how many of those games you win. But hey, I hope the Steelers prove me wrong and get a win Monday night. I will be praying that that's the case.
Hopefully I come in here smiling, but
hopefully we all come in here
hope
smiling.
So. Yeah.
No offense to Luke. I think you may have the lowest chance of getting a win here. Maybe again this week. Last week.
Let's just put it this way. We have the toughest opponent.
Yeah.
And the
don't say that. Saints and Panthers, I feel like, could be the most unpredictable matchup of our three. Steelers and Browns, you either are going with your team to go with your team, or you're going with the history behind it, which the history behind it says the Steelers have beaten the Browns many times in the past few years. But anyway, Luke. Yeah. Go ahead, Dante. What were you gonna say?
Real quick. I just think for the Steelers, this game's either gonna go incredible or so bad. There's no in between. Like we're not gonna play fine. It's either gonna be so good or just like last week. There's no middle ground. Anyway, that's
you might be right. I have my stardom sit-em for this coming week. If you want me to go over that, I won't take much of your time. I also have the results for last week. I think I did okay. I did it a little bit on the fly, but some of my answers actually would have served you well. So let's just look at this real quick. I told you to start Russell Wilson. He had 15.2 points. Would have been fine considering some of the elite QBs that had disappointing weeks, like Lamar, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen. Told you to sit Kenny Pickett, and believe it or not, he actually had 9.7 points, which I would still consider a W, but that's more than guys like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson.
That's more. Wow.
Maybe not more than Josh Allen, but it's definitely more than Burrow, and it's definitely more than Lamar Jackson.
Wow.
And that shocked me because the Ravens won like decently, and he only had like 7 fantasy points.
I think it was like 25 to 10, right?
Yeah. So, running backs, I told you to start Alexander Madison. I was right. He had 13.4, pretty decent. I told you to sit Jamal Williams. I'm going to say I was right. He had 7.2. That would have been fine on the bench. Wide receivers, I told you to start Amon-Ra St. Brown. I couldn't have been more right. He had 19.1 points. That one was probably a little bit obvious, though. And the one I was wrong about, I told you to sit DeAndre Hopkins. I thought it would take more time, but he did all right. He had 13.5. Tight ends, which are always hard to judge. I said to start Evan Ingram, which was fine. He had 9.9 points, which is good for QB for tight end 4 or 5, I think. Only 3 tight ends this week. Only 3 tight ends this week had double-digit points. With Hunter Henry leading the pack. I told you to sit Kyle Pitts. I didn't think I even needed an explanation, and it turns out I didn't. He only had 6.4 points, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was in his top 10 career games. That's how bad he's been in fantasy.
Wow.
This week, though, I'm going to tell you to start Lamar Jackson at quarterback. Like I said, I know he, for some reason, had almost no fantasy points last week, but that's not going to last. So this week, I think he'll be fine. I'm going to tell you to sit Anthony Richardson. I think he overperformed in fantasy a little bit last week, and he might run into some early season mistakes. He's just not a lock. I wouldn't start him. I wouldn't trust him just yet. Running back, this one I'm gonna cash in, kind of an easy pick. I'm gonna say start Josh Jacobs. I'm gonna cash this pick in because he underperformed last week, but I wouldn't panic on him. I would start him going forward. And I would sit Samaje Perine, just like I wouldn't overreact on Jacobs. I wouldn't overreact on him having 11 or 12 points or whatever he did. There's just not much more room than that for him in the Broncos offense. Wide receivers, start T. Higgins. He had 0 points last week. There's no way that ever happens again. The Bengals will be much better this week. They should be, at least. So if they actually explode, you'll be thanking me for saying start him. And I would sit Christian Kirk. He did not have a great game in fantasy, even though the Jaguars, they won that game pretty, not easily, but they definitely won that game. Like, there was no doubt at the end. And Calvin Ridley, he has taken his targets. Christian Kirk is now the 4th target in that offense behind Etienne, Evan Ingram, and Calvin Ridley. So I would sit Christian Kirk. Tight ends, start Hunter Henry. I would also pick him up on waivers as soon as you can. He looked good in the Patriots offense finally, and he should be the key part of that offense going forward. He's somebody whose target share is probably not going down. And I would sit Tyler Conklin, who I know some people might even be saying, who is that? But I talked to a couple people who drafted him this year. He's a Jets tight end, along with CJ Uzama. And I'm just not going to trust anybody along with Zach Wilson other than Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall right now. So that's my reasoning for this week's Stardom Situm. That's what I got for you. Thank you.
Nice.
Yep, just whip that up real quick. I don't really know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. It's going to be another exciting week in the NFL. All
Absolutely.
of us on prime time. I can't wait. Even if we all lose, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Football's back. And I'm just so happy that each Sunday we can watch football. And I'm so glad the show's back. You know, man, I love talking football with you guys.
Yeah, man, I love talking football with you guys.
Eventually, we'll get some other people in here to
Yeah.
give their
Bring the
predictions.
boys back. God, bring the RMU boys back.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
All right, that's it for me.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Yeah. I think I'm about all footballed out.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow.
For sure.
Until tomorrow.
Gotta
As I
watch.
say, as I'm about to go back and probably play another Madden game.
Likewise.
Gotta watch.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway. All right, boys, listeners, friends. This is Adam.
Dante.
And Luke.
We'll catch y'all next week.
All right. Peace.
I almost just ended the meeting. I will cut all this out. Or maybe I won't.
Oh, leave it in. Leave it in.
No. Leave it in.
Leave it in. Dante the tech genius. Leave it in.